Hey, we're waxing an underarm. You ready? Let's go. So you got some hair growing this way, you got some growing down, and we're taking this underarm section by section. This first section is in a downward motion, so we're going to apply our wax in the direction of growth. We're also going to add a second layer as a reinforcement just to make sure that the hair is fully coated and that the wax, as we know, this is a very flexible wax, is able to remove the hair without breaking. So we needed that extra layer. And as you can see, I'm pressing into the skin really good because I want to coat these hairs fully. Of course, there's several layers to this section of hair, so we won't be able to get it all in the first removal. So now I'm checking to make sure that the wax is set. As you can see, it's taking on the print of the glove. We know that this is a flexible wax. If you don't know, this is a flexible wax. So it is set, though it looks real soft. So here we do a lift, and then I'm going to go in and take the strip up. We apply against the growth and add pressure. Now take a look at this strip. As you can see, I got pretty much a great amount of the hair. You can see the bulb attached, but now there's that other layer of hair underneath. Her skin was sweaty, so we had to dab. I don't do powder, we just dab with a dry cloth. So now I'm going in the opposite direction, which is the way that this hair is growing. So I'm applying that first strip. There was no need to do a second strip because this hair was, it wasn't a thick section. So I'm doing my lift and removal, and it didn't get all the hair. Some of this hair, as you can see, it started out curly, but underneath these several layers of hair, now we have straight hair. So here I am with the third strip. I try not to max out beyond 3 strips. So we're removing, and boom, it got some hair, but those still those little pesky hairs. So I cannot wax that area again. We maxed out on 3 times, so I go to the next section. So here again, I had to double lay because why? This wax is on the softer side, on the flexible side. It's not sugar. It is hard wax, but it is a hybrid film wax. So I love it. So while the wax was setting, I was deciding to go ahead and just tweeze because that's all we can do now. We don't want to stress the skin. So now I'm just tweezing those little stubborn, pesky hairs that just did not want to act right. Why do some of the hair stay like this? You may wonder. They're really embedded in the skin. Her hair is not on the super coarse side, it's on a finer side. So they will slip through the wax. And like I say, they're bone straight. The top layer of her underarm hair is on the curlier side, but underneath those layers we have this bone straight hair, and it's also short, so it just kind of glides through the wax. The wax doesn't really adhere to it, so you sometimes have to go in and manually remove those hairs, and this is what you're seeing in this part of the video. And her skin was really sweaty because of course we're removing hair from the follicle, so we have to definitely dry her skin several times throughout the video. You would notice. So upon the removal, look, got a great amount of hair. The bulbs are attached, the sheath is attached. Again, we're dabbing the skin dry, just making sure we're getting rid of all the sweat, any oils that her skin may be naturally producing. And you can see again, hair is growing in a separate direction. They're kind of growing in a cross-hatch direction, but we're still going to go with that main direction of growth because most of the hair is still growing in the way in which I'm applying the wax. There was no need for a double lay technique here, so one single lay and we remove. And again, we got some hairs, but look, there's still a few left. So I dry the skin a little bit more. Sometimes you may have to dry the skin. Some people use powder. I do not like to use powder. So here I'm trying the reverse lay technique. This is where I'm going against the grain intentionally. And then I take that same strip and bring it back with the growth. So I go against the grain, I apply it with the grain all in one strip and remove it. And look, it gets a great amount. Like, this is a really great technique to get those pesky hairs. Again, we're drying the skin, making sure it's nice and dry. And so I'm catching that other little section right here what I didn't catch the first time. So we're going to remove, and boom, we still got those straight hairs. Remember, there are several layers of hair. It's not always what meets the eye. It's so much going on underneath those layers. And so this is where again we're having to tweeze. And a lot of people ask me to show more tweezing. To me, tweezing is fun to do, but for me, it's not as fascinating to watch, but hey, I try to meet the request of the audiences, and you guys say tweeze more, show more tweezing. So I really hope you guys appreciate this little part of the video. So like again, those hairs are really pesky. They're really short, they're bone straight, they're super thin. So sometimes they just don't behave the way you would want them to. And if you are new to waxing, or you just starting out as a waxer, you do not want to overly tax their skin. This is what I call doing more than 3, perhaps 4 layers, if you are familiar with the client's skin. But I did not max her out beyond 3 because the underarm can be a pretty tender area. So what I did, instead of laying down more wax and compromising her skin, is just go in and just tweeze those little pesky hairs. And you may not have to do this for every client. Sometimes their hair texture is different, so you may not get the same result. So even when she has a lot of hair underneath her arm or a little, I always have to go in and tweeze. That's just the way the cookie crumble for this particular client. But you always want to take your time, not rush. You're not in a race. It's a marathon, not a race. So you just take your time and just make sure you get all the hairs. And here I'm just applying my aloe and applying my grapeseed oil, and her skin looks really, really good. There's some hair that appears to be left behind, but trust me, she left with no hair. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video.